Well, this carb keeps leaking on me, and I've had it apart 2 or 3 times already, and I've had it in the ultrasonic 3 times. So the thing I'm going to try to check, and I had one of these. This had an aluminum washer on the needle and the seat thing. What it's supposed to have is a 214-14195-00, and that's a fiber washer. So I have one, so I'm going to put it in and see if that doesn't resolve my problem. I don't think it will, but hey, you never know. It could be that the needle is just leaking. It doesn't look too bad, but you never know. All right, that fits. Let's get that in there. I should probably, well, come on. There it goes. Nice and tight. All right. Put the needle in. I had the needle out of 2 different ones here. One of them, and I got the bottom end out of 2. This is the one that was in there, and you can see that it's kind of pitted down in there, and especially in this hole here. This one is off a DT2 or 3, and it's nice and smooth down in there where that little O-ring goes. I'm going to have to watch out. I don't know that I got the right 160 main for this one. We'll find out. This one too has an aluminum washer on it, and I did have, here it is. Let's see if we can tell what this one is. It's a 150, so that's close. I've got some on order. Should be in early next week, and the main is easy to change anyway. So we're going to use this one. Whoops. It's got an aluminum washer on it too, and I'm betting that it calls for something different. All right, we got that tightened down. Next thing we're going to do, this has even got the little caps on it. The difference between a DT2-3 and a DT250A is that the mounting to the intake. This has this type of mount, and the other one has this type of mount. So they're not interchangeable, but some of the parts I think are. All right, next thing we got to do is put this in. Now the floats are down in the bowl, and they stay there. Okay. The problem I have here is I need to take this gasket off, because when I measure the height here, I need to sit down. My back hurts. This is what I used to get the pilot jet out of this thing. I took different, these are reverse bits, and I used different ones to, started with the smallest to make sure the bit centered in there, and then I moved up to the next size, and then up to where I'm at. Actually, I think I just used 3 different sizes. And the last one, I'll show you, I think. I don't know if this camera can focus on this, but that's it. It went down, the drill bit went down in there, and it caught, and it backed this jet right out. So, I might have trouble getting it off the end of the drill bit here. It's on there pretty good. But I ordered some. Actually, I ordered a whole kit. I found some that said they were for a DT250, but they were like $21 or something. Oh, that was for 2 of them. Well, I can't even get that thing off there. There, it's off. So I got my drill bit free now. Let me get my chair over here where I can sit on it. It's a stool, actually. It's a stool I made. All right, so here we are. A couple things we got to do. We got to put this back in. This is the emulsion tube. I was surprised there are no holes in the sides of this. It's a little different. Most of them have holes in the sides, little tiny holes all around them, but this one didn't. So anyway, this goes down, and this, the opening on the end of this, which you see here, faces towards the engine. You know, it'd be nice to have some needle nose or something. All right. So this should go just about like that. Goes right down in there. Now there's a guide pin on the other end. And that guide pin comes out right there. You can see it. Maybe you can see it. I don't know. Right there's a little brass. Well, on the inside, there's a slot in that emulsion tube I just put down there, and it rides up on that. And I don't think it's down all the way right now. So we're gonna, it's right about there. Let's see if it came up any. Yeah, it's over the pin now. So that gets the emulsion tube in place. Then there's a little brass washer that goes there. And then there's the needle jet. And the needle jet has a little O-ring on it. And that O-ring goes down into the bottom of the bowl. I can't get my hand in there and show you at the same time. Maybe I can. It goes down in here that way when you put this together. So we're going to put this together. Now without that washer in there, you're going to create a mess. Alright. This now will draw that emulsion tube down as far as it can go. And sure enough, it's down as far as it needs to go. Now, we need to look up the float height, and the float height, I just don't know. I'm pretty sure that's on there correctly. It can go either way, but I believe this little arm here, I don't know if you can see that little arm, that's I believe is supposed to be up. You can't see it in the parts diagram, but I'm going to look for the float height. It'll be on page 97, I believe. $17.3 plus or minus 2.5. All right, so that's measured from the gasket surface. You got to take the gasket out. You can't measure it. And we turn it on. We're at 0. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, we're going to run this up to 17.3. Whoa, 17.29, couldn't get much closer. And if you look, that float level is spot on. Okay, now the problem I have right now is I don't have a pilot jet, because I'm not putting that one back in that I took out. So let's go. This is the slow speed adjustment. 1/2, 1, 1.5. It's supposed to be 1.5 out. All right. And wrong one. I'm going to see if the one off the DT2 carburetor actually works. But I want to check one thing first. I haven't checked this. I don't know if you can see it or not, but down in here, there's an opening that connects to this. And this tube actually goes up in that spot. So that's where, when you operate the choke or the starter or whatever you want to call it, that's where it draws a little extra gas, I think. But don't scream at me if I'm wrong, please. Okay. So I just want to make sure that this DT2 carb float bowl actually fits on here. And it does. I'm pretty sure. Wait. Ooh. It may not. It may not. Let's see. Oh, yes, it does. All right, I think what happened the first time, I didn't have this pin lined up with this hole, or this pin lined up with this hole. So I made sure I had that the second time around, and yes, it matches right up. So I'll be back on Monday. Today's Saturday, hopefully, when the mail gets here, and I can put that pilot jet in. And then, all right, Dale Swieger did the boring on my cylinder for me, and it looked beautiful. I got a brand new Wiseco piston in there, and I got 140 pounds of compression. And when I tried to start it up, first thing I did was put a little gas down the spark plug hole, and she did start. Gave me a couple of seconds of run, and so I put some gas in the carburetor, and it started the first time, then died, and wouldn't start again. So I pulled the plug and looked at it, and it was soaking wet. So I figure there's something in that carburetor that wasn't working right, that was just flooding the carburetor, or flooding the cylinder out. So that's when I went for the pilot jet, which I knew was stuck in there. I had tried to take it out before, but it was in bad shape when I opened it up the first time. Somebody else had been in there, and you couldn't get a screwdriver to take a hold on it. So I knew I was going to have to do something drastic, and I had these reverse bits. So I worked with them, and I got it out, and I didn't ruin the threads in there. That was my biggest fear, and that's why I used a small bit, and then a little bit bigger, and then the final one. So I didn't want to ruin the threads inside the pilot hole jet. But she's about ready to go. I got all the parts. It's got new tires on it, both ends, new chain. Went with the same sprockets. Spark's good. Compression's good. The only problem we got is fuel. I was really worried there for a while because it would run on the gas that I put in the spark plug hole, but it wouldn't run on the carburetor. And I had that problem once before when I first started working on these old bikes. And what I had done is put the piston in backwards. But I was pretty sure I hadn't done that this time. And so, but I said, well, I don't know, my feeble old mind. You never know. So I went ahead and took the exhaust off, because you got to take the exhaust off to get the head off. And took the head off and looked in there, and no, the arrow was pointing right to the exhaust like it should be. So we'll see what happens when I get the pilot jet. And I'm going to sign off for now.